How's it going, leaders? Welcome to the 4th through 6th grade leader video for January 18th through the 24th. I wanted to give a quick update on how these videos can and should be used and how you can engage with them so that way you get the most out of them. So first thing is, if you haven't yet, click on the subscribe button on YouTube so that way you get these videos each week sent to you, and so that way you don't have to search them out. These videos will be attached in the weekly email every single week, but if you are not serving that weekend, then you will not get that weekend update email. So that will just be a beneficial way for you to know that these come out, because they will help you stay connected with what's going on in the classroom. I believe that these videos that we're producing will be a clearer and more accessible way to keep our team connected and prepared for the role for helping these kids find and follow Jesus. And that's what we are doing as we lead and serve in this classroom. All right. Let's jump into just some general things that are going on in the classroom, things that you should know. And then after that, I will tackle through the weekend things. So if you are not serving this weekend, if you haven't yet got an email from me saying you're scheduled for this weekend, then you can just watch the first part and then you wouldn't need to follow through on the next part. But if you're serving this weekend, make sure that you connect with both those segments. All right, so I have 3 things that I want to cover with you guys real quick regarding general topics within the ministry. The first one is regarding leader check-in. So first thing that I want you guys to know with leader check-in is we have switched the check-in from the multi-purpose room where you guys used to go through and then get your stickers and go through the medical health checks. That is obviously no longer the case. If you've been serving the last couple weeks, you've kind of noticed that. But we will give you your stickers as you come in and check into the classroom pre-service. So that's the first change. And the second thing is, if you plan on attending a service that day that you serve, so for instance, if you plan on serving at the 9 and then attending at the 11 o'clock service, we're just encouraging you to, instead of going straight from the classroom right down into the auditorium, that you would make sure that you go through the multi-purpose room so that way they can check you in and make sure that we have everyone who is here in the building and specifically in the auditorium checked in for numbers tracking, but most importantly for contact tracing. If there is any scenarios that come about where there has been someone that has tested positive for COVID, that we want to make sure that you are aware for your health and your safety that you are in the loop on that. So that's the primary reason for leader check-in. So that's the first thing. Come and check in the classroom once you get here, and then if you're planning on attending the service after, make sure you go down to the multi-purpose room. The second thing is, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on some table games that we have in the classroom. So I've purchased some more table games, and they're on the back table. And I've realized that some of these games that are back there require a lot of details and information. And so my plan is to send out in the leader emails each week some videos that might be helpful to explain how to play these games. But I'm realizing more and more that the best games that are going to be available at the tables are some of the more interactive games. And so there's one game that I'm really excited about that I really want to get to you guys, but it's a game that you can play on your phone, and it's called Heads Up. I don't know if you've ever played this game before, but it's 99 cents, but I want to gift it to you, and so that way you have it on your phone so you can play it at the tables at any of the services. And so if you're interested in getting that game to play with the kids prior to the service, will you please follow up with me, text me, and then I can send you an email confirmation so that way you can download that game onto your phone and then you can play it in the classroom. All right. And the last thing is just one big thing actually that's coming up in the next month. We don't have a set date yet, but we are going to be rolling out Saturday night services soon for kids ministry. We don't have a set date when, but we know it's coming. And so my thought process is I want to just gather information from you guys as to whether or not you would be willing or open to being scheduled for a Saturday night service for volunteering. If that's something that interests you, then please contact me, email me, text me, call me, throw me a football with a letter on it, and I'll catch it and I'll respond to it. I don't know. I'm being crazy, like the loop. And just really big thing, I want to connect with you on whether or not you can do that. So anyway, that is coming up. Don't know exactly when, but I imagine it'll probably be within the next month or so, possibly 2 months. All right, that's the update for all the things, and we'll jump ahead to the weekend update right now. All right, so let's jump into this week's lesson. We're going to be discussing truth again one more time. This is our final lesson on truth, and the name of the series that we've been talking about is called Untangling Truth. Truth can be messy. It's not hard to see that in our world, and we've tackled this from a couple different angles. But this weekend, we are going to be focusing on how we can untangle tension. And this is focusing primarily on how we can find truth in relationships, how our relationships are meant to be lived, how relationships are meant to be done, and how the Bible designs relationships, what the purpose of relationships are. So one of the things that we see that the Bible communicates over and over again is the desire for people to find unity or to be unified. We see this a lot in the writings of Paul in the New Testament. And one of the ways we see this is through Jesus coming to bring a new kingdom. And in this kingdom, he's trying to unify God's people under his leadership or his lordship. And the ideal is unity. But the reality is that we know this practically isn't possible fully. Or unity, while it's in some areas, under living in the new kingdom, we desire it, we want it. Sometimes in some areas of our life, it's not good for us to be unified if being unified means being unified over wrong things. And so here is a really important thing to remember for this discussion as we get into it this weekend. Unity doesn't mean uniformity. Have you ever heard that before? That unity doesn't mean uniformity. And as believers, we're called to, as much as it depends on us, to live at peace with all people. That's from Romans 12:18. But this doesn't mean that we will or we should agree with everyone all the time. But when we do have tension, and it's going to happen, when we have tension with people, how do we deal with that tension, and how does it help us build those relationships? How do we use those conflicts and tensions to help build the relationship as opposed to destroy the relationship? So as we go into prepping for the lesson this weekend, here are some of the best practices I think that will work for this lesson this weekend. I would like to start by going through the small group discussion. That's going to be the sheet that you guys will have in your email, and it's just the one that says lesson guide on it. It's this one right here. So make sure that you do this first this week. Normally we do the activity first. I believe this week the lesson guide is going to be better to be done first. And the reason why is because the activity guide or the activity that we're doing is a really open-ended activity. And so if you start with that, it can really derail the conversation and the focus of the conversation. So start with the lesson guide, and then from there you can go on to the activity. So the activity for this week is to create a big stuff, tiny book. It's an element from the Loop Show. And in these books, we have, in your guys' bins, you'll have an activity guide that will look like this, and it will have instructions on how to fold and how to create the book. And in the kids' bags, they will have the sheet that they will be able to use to create their own book. And the hope for this activity is that they would think of something. It could be the topic from the Loop show that says how to disagree, and they can kind of come up with their own big stuff, tiny book on that. Or they can create their own big stuff, tiny book on something that they find interesting, something that they're really passionate about, and then explain in that book how to do something. For example, if I were to make a book, I would make my book on how to golf, because I love golf and it's awesome and it's probably the best sport ever. But I won't get into too much tension over that conversation, because I know that there's lots of different opinions on that. But the idea is to have them create this book. You probably won't get through being able to make the book, but it could be a great next step for them to take home with them and to do with their family, and then encourage them to bring it back next week. If they bring it back, I will give them a little bonus prize or gift, and so that could be a fun way to incentivize them to go about doing this. But there could be some fun ways for them to think about, what is it that you could instruct or help someone do, and write it in the book so that way you can hand it or give it to someone, and to start a conversation with them on an important topic. So that's an idea from the lesson. Should be open-ended, like I said, and could create some fun opportunities to kind of discuss what's passionate, what these kids are passionate about and what they love doing. So there's the activity and the lesson. Like I said, start with the lesson guide, then move along to the activity, and then you should be good to go. For this weekend, come to the huddle 30 minutes prior to the service. For each service, we'll be getting together, praying, talking about some of the other stuff that goes along with the weekend. And make sure to wear your Team Kids shirt. Just have that on so that way we can be representing the ministry well, and also showing some unity over why we do what we do. We believe that helping kids find and follow Jesus is an essential part of what it means to make disciples, and our church would not be a church if we weren't investing in the next generation and pointing them to Jesus. And all of that is wrapped into that idea of Team Kids. We're about kids. We're for kids. All right, guys. Well, I will see you guys hopefully this weekend, and barring no setbacks. And I will be looking forward to leading with you as we help these kids find and follow Jesus by untangling tension in their lives and specifically in their relationships. All right, I will see you guys later. Have a great week. All right, bye.